Well, goddamn it, he's supposed to be on duty.
Maybe it was a vigilante.
Well, did you at least get a description?
I did. Tell him what you told me.
He was a big fucking Wolfcop.
Welcome to Second Class Cinema, the show where we watch a B movie and immediately discuss it. I'm Tom. I'm here with Eric and Brittany.
Howdy.
Hi, Eric and Brittany.
Hello, guys. How's it going?
It's going pretty well.
That's good. That's good to know. So tonight we watched the 2014-2015 movie Wolfcop.
That we did.
Per recommendation of a lot of people who said you should watch this movie.
Well,
So
we did want to see it before that. So.
we heard about this movie. Rock and Shock.
Yep.
This past year, horror convention. We got the
October.
Magnet. So we were like, "Oh, this movie's interesting and weird." And then it came out, and a few people were like, "Well, you got to watch Wolfcop. Oh, Wolfcop! Everyone's got to watch Wolfcop."
Yeah. And I'm not going to lie, I was pretty enamored with the title.
and the concept.
How could a movie about a werewolf police officer possibly be bad?
Exactly right. So, Brittany, this was your pick. Why did you pick the movie after I kind of already explained it?
For all the aforementioned reasons, basically.
Yeah. So, I mean, go for it.
Yeah. So pretty much all the reasons you mentioned, and I can just launch right into a summary. This movie is about a alcoholic police officer who is captured by a group of satanic shapeshifters and turned into a werewolf so that they can sacrifice him and feed on his blood to sustain themselves.
Yep.
The end.
Yeah, no, I mean, the movie makes chronological sense.
Yeah.
The movie's
That's a success.
Hey, it starts, there's a middle, and then there's an end.
Yeah, I have a lot to say about this movie, despite the fact that I hated it.
So you're outright saying you hated it.
I did not like. I really had to search deep down in my soul for the generosity to list anything in the favorites column of this movie.
That's a really good way to put it, because I felt like that was my internal struggle as well.
Yeah.
On that note, where would we like to begin?
Well, there are a few meager successes.
So we would like to talk about those first.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about those.
I think the practical effects were solid.
Agreed.
Agreed.
Really cool, and I can understand maybe that would be the reason that this would get recommended so regularly, is that the practical effects were well done. They felt appropriately grimy and disgusting. Kind of like a Cronenberg movie.
Yeah, yeah.
Not quite on the same level, but I mean, I could see what they're going for. It felt very, like, sloppy and
Goopy.
yeah.
Yeah, it was like gory and realistic, like disgustingly realistic.
Yeah.
In the age of CGI, I appreciate that whenever it comes up.
I agree. The practical effects were pretty good.
Yeah,
Yeah, they were really good. I
gross.
appreciate when people take the time and effort to use practical makeup effects in their movies.
Yeah.
So I feel like we always have to give that a thumbs up.
Yeah,
For sure.
And on top of that, too, one of the most important things you do when you go down and make a werewolf movie is to worry about that transformation scene.
Oh, yeah.
You know, you want to make sure that when you watch your character turn into the werewolf, that's a major event, and that it's traumatizing for them, and it's cool for the audience, and all that stuff. And the movie did that.
Agreed.
The movie's transformation scene done, with great practical effects, and that came across very well. So I will say that the transformation scene was a total success of this movie.
We actually got two transformation scenes, and they were both really good.
Yeah, and both different.
Yeah.
Both different in their own way.
They both showed different aspects of the transformation.
Yeah, and also on top of the technical effects being good, I feel like this movie had a lot of skilled people in all of its technical roles. Like,
I agree.
The cinematography, well done, well lit. Everything's well framed, well shot, well edited. This movie, it was a tight edit. It was
The overall production quality of this movie was
high,
more than you could ask for this type of film.
way more than you could ask for in this exact genre of movie. And yeah, the movie's edit was a tight hour 18. So it didn't overstay its welcome in that regard.
Yeah, it did.
In that regard.
Okay, yeah, fair enough.
So yeah, it was executed well, you could say. Technically, I'm talking about the technical.
The technical,
No,
yes.
I completely
it looked
agree.
Good.
Yes,
Some of the acting was really decent.
it was really, really decent.
Yeah.
No, some people did like a really good job. I liked the policewoman, Tina.
Yeah,
She did a good job. I liked her.
yeah.
And there wasn't much for the actors to do in a movie called Wolfcop, which is weird.
Yeah, that's a good point too.
Okay, if we want to springboard directly into what was wrong with this movie.
Real quick, one more thing that I thought the movie that had a success and it did kind of cool that was a little different. I mean, they had a band do the original music. They had it in the beginning. They had a band do all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember the name of the band. Frankly, I don't care. But
Shooting Guns or something like
yeah,
that.
actually, that was probably
I think that was
good memory.
Yeah, no, that's always neat. It gives the movie kind of its own little personal flair.
Totally.
Agreed.
But now we can go to failures if you'd like.
Yeah.
All right. Take it away.
My biggest gripe with this movie is that I found it incredibly boring for the biggest reason being that nothing of substance really happens for the first 43 minutes.
Yep, I have 43 written down. 43 minutes before the words wolf cop are mentioned together or a wolf cop does anything.
Yeah.
That's unacceptable.
That's more than halfway through the
I
movie.
was jumping the gun because I wrote down pacing as a plus, like as a strength of this movie.
Mm-hmm.
But that was probably after a good 20 minutes. And I was like, all right, like this movie is chugging it along. It's kind of putting us right where we need to be,
Yep.
setting us up for Wolf Cop. All right.
Then it
And I
kept
kind of
setting it up.
expected it to springboard into Wolf Cop, but then it just kept kind of like teasing us.
Yeah, it kept hitting that note of this character Lou is an alcoholic cop.
Yes.
Over and over and over again, long after we understood, okay, he's an alcoholic cop and he's going to become a wolf cop.
Yeah.
It's like you're going to watch this guy drive around for 40 minutes and talk to a bunch of people. Like two super mildly creepy things are going to happen to him, and that's going to be the extent of it for 43 minutes.
I think if the payoff was better, then I would say 43 minutes. Okay, you know what? Fine. The payoff was really cool.
Yeah. If it rounded out really well and like, you know, and the Wolf Cop did his thing and it was worth it, but, you know, I don't think it was.
My third note on my sheet just says, this movie is nothing but this asshole drinking and puking. The movie's called Wolf Cop. You really only had to deliver one thing to me.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah, I feel like it had the potential, like the character had the potential to be so like kitschy and like crazy, and it made me wait so long for that by the time we got it, I didn't care, nor did I appreciate it by that point.
No.
Yeah,
I was just
didn't
like,
want
you
it.
really made me wait too long for this, and now the payoff is not big enough to justify a 40-minute slog.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
character just wasn't entertaining.
Exactly,
Like, he was
like-
very flat, one note. He wasn't even like an asshole. He was just like a boring dude.
You know
Yeah.
what? I feel that way about every character in this movie. While some people did well acting, I feel like their characters had zero conviction about anything.
Yeah, there was no motivations. No one cared about
motivation,
anything.
No urgency.
No.
Like I didn't know how people were putting the pieces of things together.
Oh, God, no.
Like it was so loose.
I think the only character with any kind of like dimension was like the Willy guy. That he was sort of interesting because he was the only character with any traits whatsoever.
With any kind of human trait. Yeah.
Where he was just like the crazy conspiracy theorist.
He was one of my favorite parts. I just wrote down Willie in general.
He was the only thing that I really enjoyed.
That was a
in terms of
mustache guy?
characters.
Like
Yeah.
redeeming quality.
Yeah, he kind of annoyed me.
And he ran out his welcome eventually too.
Yeah, I felt like everyone was just slammed into these roles. I mean, like you try and shove a square through like a circle on like a play school thing.
Well, yeah,
And
maybe
it's
if you were
not
that kind of
fitting.
student.
Yeah, that's what it felt like. I felt everything was jammed into the wrong hole.
Square peg, circle hole.
Yeah,
For sure.
Yeah.
And-
it wasn't very eventful in general.
and it wrapped a ton of werewolf cliches into itself in a not cool way. I felt like they did everything just because.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, let's do that. Why? Nah, just because. Well, let's do this. Nah, just do it. Sure, why not? It was no reason.
I kind of got the impression that somebody had like a really awesome idea for a 40-minute Wolf Cop movie.
Yeah.
Like a werewolf cop like short. And then they were like, let's make this a feature. And then they added 40 minutes of like really, honestly, bullshit.
We're not going to be able to sell this to anyone if it's 38 minutes long. We got to pad it.
Yeah,
78 minutes is the minimum.
exactly.
Yeah, but wouldn't you rather watch a movie that was 38 minutes and you go, oh man, imagine what they could have done with a feature and like let our imaginations get us there as opposed to giving
Yeah.
us this feature thing that once again, it's just crammed into a feature.
And I mean, 42 minutes of exposition.
Well,
Isn't
no,
it-
we had our first transformation scene at 23 minutes.
My note just says 23 minutes before anything happens.
In the bar?
Oh, was that 43 minutes in?
I don't really know.
Okay.
I think actually no. I think the
I know the first time he does anything as a wolf cop is 43 minutes.
I think the
Yes.
convenience store is 43 minutes.
Yeah, when he leaves the station as the wolf.
So we got the transformation scene in the bar, but beyond the transformation, nothing really happened.
Yeah, I mean, there's some implied violence, but you don't really see any of it.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
it's just like a blood spattered room. And I mean, in the grand scheme of things, 43 minutes of exposition is not that bad if you disperse it evenly throughout your film.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're like, the first half is exposition and the last half is just like Wolfcop fucking shit up for the most part.
Yeah.
It's just too unbalanced for my taste.
For sure.
Yeah, I can get behind that. Anything else? If we're gonna keep harping about Wolfcop himself, I fucking hated his voice.
It was too growly, almost to the point of like being incomprehensible.
Yeah,
Correct.
no, it's, you got the right word.
Yeah.
I was like, yep. Okay,
I was waiting for it.
The syllables
Yeah,
are all
calm.
in the right spot.
Hence, bulk. Yeah,
Yeah, I
you
was
got
thinking that too.
You got
Yeah.
it.
Sorry, guys.
I mean, if
Slow on the vocab uptake today.
it's okay
That's
because if and people might think it's a little petty to be saying that I didn't like his voice, but you know what? People can complain about how they didn't like Batman's voice. I can complain about how I didn't like Wolfcop's voice.
Fair enough.
That's what I'm going to do.
And you know what? I think I might not even complain about his voice if the movie was better.
I agree.
I really like by the time we hit the convenience store and he rolls up to stop the robbery and he's being like punning Wolfcop, like I wanted to appreciate it so much more, but it just fell flat for me. Like I can't even describe why.
Yeah, the whole thing was flat.
I don't know if it was just like me being a bit a bitch because I had to wait 40 minutes for this to happen.
No, because this movie
because the payoff was
never won me over.
Yeah, this payoff was never there. I mean, the convenience store, he apprehends the criminal who is holding a hostage by pointing a gun at him, and then the criminal sees that he's a wolf cop, and the criminal passes out. Like that's straight out of like a bad trauma movie.
Yeah.
Like this really reminded me of like subpar garbage from Trauma. Like
I mean, I guess at its heart, you could say that for sure.
this
but
feels
like,
very Trauma-ish.
I mean,
I hate trauma, so I'd have to disagree with you on that front.
yeah. Well, I mean, it doesn't fit the trauma bill, but I get what you're saying.
Yeah,
where there was an
it's-
inspiration probably from someone who was like, I like trauma movies,
Yeah,
and then
it
someone
kinda
made a
Has
movie.
the vibe of like maybe like Sergeant Kabuki Men or like Toxic Avenger 2.
Yeah, see, I was expecting, I don't know if it was the advertising was misleading or what, but I was expecting like Teen Wolf meets FDR, American Badass. And I feel like that was what they were going for.
Yeah,
But this movie just didn't have any of the audacity that FDR had.
Yeah, I would never say FDR is a good movie, but we laughed our asses off the first time we watched
the
it.
first
for
time.
sure.
Because of, like you said, the audacity. That's
It was
the perfect word
audacious.
for it. Yeah, it went out. It took a lot of risks. It was super silly. It didn't waste much time.
Yeah, and like I guess this movie did take risks, but I feel like maybe it didn't push them far enough, or maybe they weren't the right ones.
What risks did it set up? I mean, I was like, nothing is truly risky in what it's trying to accomplish. It's a wolf cop movie. I'd say the only risky image that I think I got was when in the transformation scene he was like starting to take a piss and then his piss turned into blood and then like it looked really gross, the practical effect of like his dick coming off.
Yeah, that
And
was.
I was like, oh, that's
Kinda
the
risky.
only emotional reaction that movie gave me.
Yeah, really, me too. I didn't really react emotionally to anything that they
Yeah.
had to offer me.
Yeah.
Yeah, a movie like this should be like really gunning off of like how ridiculous it can get and how out there it can get, and it just felt kind of reined in. I don't know.
In a weird way, yeah.
Yeah,
Totally.
I mean, even though there's scenes of extreme violence, but I was just like, yeah,
How
yeah, that guy doesn't have a face anymore. All right, great.
Yeah.
How is it possible that a werewolf with an automatic weapon is better in theory?
Dude, I know. I wrote that. I had that. My
that
last note.
angers me.
My
to
last
the very
note.
core of my being.
My last note says a werewolf cop with a machine gun has bored me.
Never thought I'd see the day.
Yeah.
I mean, this movie is proof that nailing everything technically does not make it a good movie. You know, it
just means you have a watchable movie.
It just and I feel like that's maybe what some people had fallen victim to, is the quality of this movie, and then because the quality is so high, maybe they enjoyed the style of the movie. Yeah. Whereas I feel like they're way off from each other. It's an unbalanced piece.
I also feel like if they had given us a better reason to identify with Lou, the cop, I would have been more pumped when he finally became Wolfcop and was just being a badass.
Yeah.
I just feel like because I couldn't identify with him in the first place, I didn't really care about anything that was happening to him.
I think he had to be either more of a loser, or he had to have been like wronged in some way and he had to get his revenge. I never felt...
Yeah, just like a cool guy down on his luck.
Yeah, exactly. That kind of thing.
Yeah.
I mean, there was motivation. His dad apparently had died at some point, but he didn't know that. The revenge was like all stuffed into the end of the movie. So I don't really get why we care.
Yeah, I didn't like him very much, and I mean, I'm sure I'm supposed to a little bit. I did not like him whatsoever, and I liked him even less when he was the Wolf Cop.
Yeah. And I didn't dislike him enough before he was the Wolf Cop to really be like, okay, now he's a Wolf Cop and now he's doing things.
Yeah.
He was just a lazy prick. I mean, okay.
Yeah, totally. Where else the movie fail? We're not going to talk about risks, unless we do.
I don't know if this is kind of a failure to me. At the end, when they have the final showdown with the shapeshifters, and they get shot and killed, and then they like morph into these weird lizard people.
Yeah.
Like, are they the Anunnaki?
They are, yeah.
I don't believe it.
That's the only thing in this movie that made sense to me, was that they were the Anunnaki.
I don't like that one bit.
All right.
I like my ridiculous movies without internet conspiracy theories.
Another thing I didn't like, this is just a particular part that kind of solidified my hatred for this movie. I guess hatred's a little too far, but, you know. There was the scene where in the prison cell, he had sex with the bartender, who ended up turning into one of the shapeshifters who were running...
Who was also the mayor.
Town, who was the Anunnaki, who was also the mayor.
That sentence got very complicated in a hurry.
Yeah, sorry about that one.
It's accurate. You can follow it. It's fine.
Yeah, just don't even pay attention. And they had, a bunch of sex in the prison cell when he was the Wolf Cop.
Whole bunch of sex.
Lots of it. And then
Oodles.
afterwards, he was just smoking a cigarette afterwards, and just like what they were trying to do pissed me off so much. And in my head, I was like, I'm pretty sure I fucking hate this.
Like the self-aware.
Yeah, but not in a good way.
Yeah.
Of it. Yeah.
They think they're in on the joke, that kind of thing.
You know what it felt like? It felt like people who had their own joke made a movie for their friends, for them all to enjoy the joke, and for people who watch it to want to be a part of the joke. And if you're not, then it's like, well, you don't get it.
Yeah, it kind of has that vibe.
It has that vibe, like, oh, well, you didn't get it? All right, fine. It's like,
Yeah.
well, no.
Wolf Cop having sex with a woman. It's funny.
I get it.
It's like a Norm Macdonald joke without a punchline.
Yeah.
I didn't really get that so much.
I got that vibe.
I didn't, but I just didn't think it was as like funny or clever or ironic as maybe it was meant to be.
Yeah.
Oh, I felt like there was a lot of inside joke in that movie, and that's something that you just got to be aware of when you make a movie. Like, yeah, it could be great to you and your friends, and maybe a very small group of people who might understand that, but
Yeah, like I think I have another example of that. There's a scene where the leader of the shapeshifters is shaking down one of his goons because he failed to take out the Wolf Cop.
Yeah.
And one of the goons says, I saw it with my own eye. And I was like, as soon as I heard that, I was like, oh, he's going to stab his eye out.
yeah.
And I'm like, okay, I mean, you could set up that joke maybe in a better movie, and you would be setting up like that nudge, okay, yeah, he said a silly line and they're going to do something about it. But in this, I was just like, I don't like this.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just
wore me
bothered
down.
me. Yeah, like I in a better movie, I think I could have tolerated that.
Yeah.
Or it might have even been really funny if the entire movie was set up to accommodate those jokes. But this movie never took the effort to do that.
Yeah, and another example of the just seemingly some sort of inside joke, or maybe something that didn't come across in the edit, was at the very end, there was that character who was drinking in the bar with him, and he got kicked out of the bar, and he was this drunk or whatever. We
That,
see
like,
him...
kind of chubby guy.
Yeah, the chubby bearded guy.
Yeah.
We see him that once. And then later on in the movie, he's like taking a leak in the woods, and he's like, "It's a wolf!" And he goes to grab his gun,
big fucking wolf.
And then he grabs his gun and looks at him, and the wolf's gone, and he just screams, "No!" Like we were supposed to understand his struggle or something.
Me and Tom just like looked at you like, "Did
like,
you get that?" No,
What the?
I think I missed that. I was
fuck?
probably like on my phone or writing notes about
No one could blame you.
something
Yeah.
that I was disgusted by.
No, it just didn't make any sense. I was like, "Well, no, you're not allowed to do that."
Yeah, you can't not establish a joke and then tell the punchline.
Yeah.
That's not how that works.
You see,
I mean, maybe I missed something, but I was paying pretty heavy attention to
Yeah.
the movie for the most part.
It's not like we were fucking around. I don't know.
No, we weren't talking. We didn't say a word to each other through this
No.
movie. We didn't have
didn't,
a
like-
good time watching it.
no, we didn't cheer or laugh out loud or do any of the stuff that accompanies being really entertained.
Yeah, there's a couple like
20 minutes in,
Yeah.
Eric was like, "What time is it?"
yeah.
20 more minutes. What time is it now?
Well, I had to take notes for the podcast.
I don't like that this movie supports bestiality.
Yeah.
I don't know. We usually have a good time when we watch even the worst movies.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this movie just fell flat in almost every aspect for me.
I think that's the problem with these wink, wink, nudge, nudge type movies. Is you can't really even have fun watching them because you can't make fun of them because they're making fun of themselves.
Yeah.
And if they're not entertaining on their own value, then you've just taken everything away from us.
Yeah, as if
viewers.
you totally well put.
Yeah, I feel like you kind of have to not try to be funny, just be serious, and then the comedy will come through.
Yeah.
Weirdly.
Yeah. Be patient. Don't be so harsh and on the nose. Just let it ride, and if it's going to work, it's going to work, and if not, then it doesn't work, and that's okay. But don't insult me as a viewer.
Yeah, it came off very juvenile.
Yeah.
Like it was written by like a senior in high school.
Ugh.
Like it's got that vibe, sort of. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess I shouldn't say that I hated it. I didn't feel very strongly about it one way or another.
Yeah.
It didn't really make me feel much of anything. Maybe that could be like the worst crime sometimes, though.
Totally.
Yeah.
Like you didn't even affect me in a negative way. I'm sure some people would like really dig this movie and think it's hilarious,
Oh, yeah.
but it's just not my cup of tea.
Yeah, I mean, I think I understand the appeal, but it's, yeah.
Yeah, I would never say who is this movie for. Like that's not a question I would ask.
Yeah.
I can get that.
We ask that of some movies, but not this one.
Okay, but usually we get into the case where we nitpick a lot of stuff when we don't like a movie. I have another one.
All right, let's nitpick.
This movie's got some undercranking in it, and it's 2015. There were parts where cars were driving and they were undercranked. Like, there's no reason to do that these days. that is a 50-year-old technique for filmmaking that should have been retired a long
Like if you want a
time ago.
little clip wedged in there of somebody driving, just put somebody driving.
Make them drive faster. Like pedal to the metal. You're filming Wolfcop.
Yeah.
I expect some audacity in your actor driving a fucking car.
All right. Well, if that's the case, then we can move on to favorite parts, or the lack thereof.
I think I have at least one, so okay, sure.
Yeah, I mean, we touched on one. I touched on one of mine earlier with the transformation scene.
Yeah, me too with Billy.
It was a good job.
Transformation scenes are good.
But what else is a favorite part?
After the convenience store gets robbed and Wolfcop tears the shit out of the robbers,
Yeah.
one of the cops has taken a statement from the owner of the convenience store, and they ask for a description, and the convenience store owner just goes, "He was a big fucking wolf cop." I like that. I think that is the kind of joke that this movie should have relied more on. Some more deadpan humor like that.
Yeah. Yeah, and cool, because, I mean, in actuality, for me, that joke bothered me too, but I feel like it was because it was in the wrong mood. It was an aimless joke in a movie where those jokes didn't exist.
Yeah.
You know?
No, I can definitely buy that.
Yeah.
But, in 60 minutes into this movie, I was looking for something. That made me laugh.
Throw in a bone.
Please.
I LOL'd at when the guy was like, "Who are you?" And he's like, "I'm the Fuzz."
Oh, yeah.
I was like, "All right, I'll give it to you."
Yeah, that one was okay. That was all right.
I feel
I
like
mean, if I had been enjoying the movie more in general, that probably would have like really made me laugh, and I would have loved it a lot. But as it stands, I just picked it out because what else is there really?
that's how I felt about a lot of the things in this movie. I was like, if I was enjoying this movie more, that would have made me laugh.
Yeah.
I think there was another line like, "Hey, we should stop at the bar after this." And then, the cop's partner had gotten stabbed early, and she's like, "I think we should go to the hospital." I think in a better movie, that would have made me laugh. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. Being one of the last lines of dialogue in the
Yeah.
movie, too. One of my favorite parts is something so small and something that they probably didn't even know that they did. But where, who was that bearded character with the slick back hair and the tattoo tear?
David Faustino.
Correct.
I don't know his name, but he was in Ginger Snaps, and he's in Tucker and Dale versus Evil.
Yeah, that guy was in it, and he was just, the town jerk?
Was he one
town
of
goth
the
jerk?
Was he one of the shapeshifters? Oh,
He was.
When
He
you
was
first
the
see him in the
sheriff.
bar and he's wearing that fucking floor-length leather trench coat, I wrote Neo just walked in.
But so at the end of the movie, he's got a ton of goons, right? And so he brings all of his goons out to the woods to search for the Wolfcop.
Love a good goon squad.
Yeah, but
This movie didn't have one.
Well, there was one part about the goon squad I loved, and that was what they were wearing. They all
Like SWAT gear?
Yeah, well, no, not even. It was like
It was like,
What
it was
was
like
it called?
padding.
like hockey pads.
Yeah, hold on. It was like
They stole the costume design from Robo Vampire.
I was like, they look like they're about to enter a downhill race with rollerblades.
To the death.
like in that movie Airborne. They just look like they were rollerbladers from the 90s. And
They have like mom's pillows duct taped inside their shirts.
yeah, and he even commented on what they were wearing. He's like, "What the fuck you guys wearing?" And I was like, "All right, that was all right."
I like that actor though. He's usually like enjoyable in everything that he's in.
He was
And
good.
He usually plays his role really well, but even
just-
he was like whatever.
It was a character. I mean, like we were talking about, none of the acting was that bad in any sense of the word. It was just, I think the characters they were portraying were just 1D characters.
I
Poorly
think
developed, yeah.
the whole like plot of this movie kind of threw me as well, because I mean, I guess blame it on my expectations, but I was kind of expecting and hoping for just a straight up cop movie where the cop is a wolf.
Yeah.
Like, that's all I want from you. All I want is for a wolf cop to be busting criminals and being a wolf while he does it.
Like,
why is that
Why
so much task?
overcomplicate this?
Let's
Yeah.
think about its contemporary, RoboCop.
Yes.
That is a robot cop busting criminals.
Exactly, but substitute Robo with wolf and we're cooking with gas.
I think that's all I expected.
Samurai cop, a samurai who busts criminals.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the whole shapeshifter and like supernatural subplot, just blech.
Well, I mean, on top of that, it just comes off as a big ripoff of Hot Fuzz. That's essentially the same plot.
Yeah, no, it really did wind down like that. You're
Yeah.
like, holy shit. Well, it's another. It was too derivative of other
Small town
pre-existing
conspiracy.
Yeah,
that
small town
type of thing.
conspiracy, a
It's
couple
like
of cops
most
that busted.
base. Yeah.
Yeah.
things. Yeah.
With the occult involved. You know,
Well, we
feel
managed
like-
to turn favorite parts into
I
failures.
feel like we're being really terrible to this movie.
We're being harsh, but you know what? I had to sit through it.
yeah,
It's
that's
true.
what it comes down to. I mean, if we can't even have fun watching it,
Yeah,
then
that's
it's
the
going
problem.
to get the brunt of it.
If I had to watch it for 118 minutes, I could talk shit about it for 20.
Yeah, exactly right.
I mean, the worst thing a movie can do is bore us to tears. We've had movies that have really sucked, but we've made fun of them and had fun watching it, and it ends up being kind of a middling ground because you can watch the movie and laugh at it and point and laugh and like, oh, look how they can't do anything correctly.
Yeah.
This didn't give us any of that.
Yeah.
We didn't have the
I was
satisfaction of
bored,
making
but I
fun of it.
wasn't crying.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to bring it up, but the last match was
I was avoiding
Why are
saying
you
that.
doing this?
it was infuriating, but it was something.
Yeah.
All right,
Okay.
are we gonna rate it?
Rate it.
Let's read it.
So let's rate it then.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with
Yeah,
fuck
I'm gonna
you.
have to give it an unfortunate fuck off.
Oh my god, my fucking father.
Fuck you.
Fuck you.
Fuck you.
All right, who wants to start rating it?
I'll go first
All right.
since I picked it.
Yeah, you're responsible.
I'll give this a fucking pass.
Fucking pass.
Like,
It's generous.
unless
Wait, passes in passing grade or passes in pass?
Pass on it.
you know what, that is generous. I'm gonna give it a straight up fuck you.
Oh wow.
I would never
Changing
watch
it up.
I would never watch it again. I would never recommend it to anyone. I mean, no one that I know whose film type I am aware of. Like, I don't know.
It's like their blood type, but it's the film type.
I don't feel like anyone that I know, like whose type of movie that they like that I know would appreciate this.
Yeah.
If that makes any fucking sense at all.
No, it does.
This movie like fried my brain.
Yeah. What do you got, Eric?
Wait.
Oh,
Oh wait. And can I pose a final question
Sure.
with my rating?
Sure.
Was that guy snorting wolf blood?
I thought they were red hots.
Well, because
I actually wrote it down.
Because earlier that guy was like, when they were talking about the shapeshifters and like the rituals, they were like, what are they going to do? Like drink it or like turn it into powder to snort? And I was like, that was a really weird place to take that, but okay. But then they showed that guy snorting red powder, so I was like,
you're probably right.
I don't fucking know.
Good job.
Continue. Somebody else fucking take the wheel. Jesus, take the wheel.
All right, Eric, take the wheel.
Yeah, fuck you.
Yeah,
I feel the same way as Brittany does. I would never watch this again. If I had known it would be like this, I would have been like, let's watch something else. I would never recommend it to someone else because I think if I was going to recommend a movie of this type, I would say, you watch RoboCop, you watch Hot Fuzz, you watch FDR American Badass. Like, those all scratch the itches that this is supposed to scratch while being way better. This brings nothing to the table when there are far better movies of its type.
Agreed.
Also agree. I had a different rating for this movie, but since both you guys stepped up, I'm going to say fuck you. I was gonna say nice fucking try, but I'm gonna go with a fuck you because you guys did, and then that way we can put it on the shitflix shit list.
Pure pressure.
Yeah.
I mean, for as like authentic and original this movie was, it didn't have anything to offer.
Yeah, I mean, I'm giving it a fuck you because, like, all right, it did seem fun to make. Seemed fun to make. Like, it was probably a great time. Set was probably awesome. The premiere was probably a fucking blast for everyone involved. But as a viewer, I'm left bewildered and without enjoyment.
Unsatisfied.
Yes. So that's why I give it a fuck you, and that's why this movie is on the shitflix shit list.
You've been waiting to say that.
Well, we said it a few times.
First class failure.
Did Last Match get that?
A shitflix shit list?
I hope so.
I don't think we gave it a unanimous.
I think you both backed off of giving it a fuck you because of the
the premise.
Pun. No, we're not talking about this anymore.
But no, yeah, that's the only reason I brought up the originality of it was because you said you're going to give it a nice fucking try, and I do commend the.
It was a nice fucking try.
I do commend the attempt. Exactly,
Yeah.
like it was original. I just think it took made some choices that weren't really necessary or beneficial.
Yep.
In the long run.
Yeah.
Totally agree.
I think even maybe the technical quality makes me dislike it more.
Yeah.
Because I expect more out of it, whereas with the movie that we shall not mention, that movie had no technical quality whatsoever. So
The Voldemort of movies.
Unnamed.
So the fact that it failed miserably, it wasn't as much of a hit to me. Like, I was like, okay, well, this movie looked like garbage to begin with, so expecting it to be good is, a failure on my part.
Oh, agreed.
This movie looked really good, so expecting it to be good is not a failure on my part.
Yeah.
Yeah, see,
They set the stage.
That's why I didn't know if it was fair for me to judge it so harshly based on my preconceived expectations.
Well, I mean, this movie...
Of course you can.
This movie is banking on preconceived expectations because it's called Wolfcop.
True.
I mean, they're putting it all on the table right there.
Yeah, like either be super serious or be super ridiculous about it.
Any final thoughts before we wrap it up?
Not really.
No, I don't... this movie just kind of left me feeling... Ugh.
Yeah.
I think my seventh note just says yuck in capital letters.
All right, so you've been listening to Second Class Cinema. We watched Wolfcop, and it's on the shitflix shit list, so let that be known.
It's been demoted.
Yeah. So for more information, you can find us on Facebook, facebook.com/secondclasscinema. We are on iTunes, Second Class Cinema. Subscribe and rate. We'd love it. We're on Stitcher. We are on YouTube, where we post all the audio podcasts, working on video content. Just had a nice script read today. Yeah, we're still working on that script. We're going to get that shot and up there pretty soon. So expect that. We're on Twitter, Second Class Cinema.
Instagram.
We're on Instagram, posting stuff on Instagram. Anywhere else, guys? You guys usually have somewhere else we are.
No, we're good.
No, this movie took all the cleverness out of my body.
Yeah, that's true.
Want some Pizza Hut.
Pretzel crust.
This movie made me want to go get Pizza Hut. Just take that as you will.
All right, guys, let's eat some pretzel crust.
What the fuck are you? The Buzz.